Hey guys, welcome back. Today is Friday, April 24th. This is our last day that we will spend working on finishing up our part one guide. Congrats, you are just about a third of the way through the text. I hope y'all are enjoying it so far. So today we are going to read pages 60 to 66 and then finish up our last reading task. In addition, if there are any spots of your reading guide that you've left blank because you were confused, um, you need to go ahead and finish this up because your part one guide in its entirety is due today, Friday, April 24th. So let's go ahead and review our reading task before we get started with the text. So I've got my part one guide open here. This is the very last section. Our reading task for today is to describe Montag's inner conflict at the end of section 1 of the novel. In your response, be sure to include factors contributing to this conflict and include specific evidence in chronological order. So all you're going to do over here is just answer this first question. What is Montag's internal conflict? Explain that to me in your own words, and then list at least 3 different things that have contributed or that have led up to this conflict. Bullet those in chronological order. Let's go ahead and start by reading page 60. Meet me there, page 60. So we're picking up with Montag and Beatty having a conversation. So remember in the last section, Beatty arrived at Montag's house because he didn't come to work. He wasn't feeling well, supposedly. And Beatty seems to know why. He says that this is something other firemen have been through. Let me give you some answers, Montag. Let me explain to you how our job came to be. So this is kind of concluding this conversation between the two. Well, Montag, will you take another shift later? Will you take another later shift today? Will we see you tonight, perhaps? I don't know, said Montag. What? Beatty looked faintly surprised. Montag shut his eyes. I'll be in later, maybe. We'd certainly miss you if you didn't show, said Beatty, putting his pipe in his pocket thoughtfully. I'll never come in again, thought Montag. Get well and keep well, said Beatty. He turned and went out through the open door. Montag watched through the window as Beatty drove away in his gleaming yellow flame-colored Beetle with the black, char-colored tires. Across the street and down the way, the other houses stood with their flat fronts. What was it Clarice had said one afternoon? No front porches. My uncle says there used to be front porches, and people sat there, sometimes at night, talking when they wanted to talk, rocking, and not talking when they didn't want to talk. Sometimes they just sat there and thought about things, turned things over. My uncle says the architects got rid of front porches because they didn't look well, but my uncle says that was merely rationalizing it. A real reason, hidden underneath, might be they didn't want people sitting like that, doing nothing, rocking, talking. That was the wrong kind of social life. People talked too much, and they had time to think. So they ran off with the porches, and the gardens too. Not many gardens anymore to sit around in, and look at the furniture. No rocking chairs anymore. They're too comfortable. Get people up and running around. My uncle says, and my uncle, and my uncle. Her voice faded. Montag turned, so just keep in mind that's a flashback because he has not seen Clarice since she disappeared. Montag turned and looked at his wife, who sat in the middle of the parlor talking to an announcer who in turn was talking to her. Mrs. Montag, he was saying, this, that, and the other. Mrs. Montag? Something else and still another. The converter attachment, which had cost them $100, automatically supplied her name whenever the announcer addressed his anonymous audience, leaving a blank where the proper syllables could be filled in. A special spot WaveX scrambler also caused his televised image in the area immediately about his lips to mouth the vowels and consonants beautifully. He was a friend, no doubt of it, a good friend. Mrs. Montag, now, look right here. Her head turned, though she quite obviously was not listening. Montag said, it's only a step from not going to work today to not working tomorrow to not working at the firehouse ever again. You are going to work tonight, though, aren't you? Said Mildred. I haven't decided. Right now, I've got an awful feeling I want to smash things and kill things. Go take the Beetle. No thanks. The keys to the Beetle are on the night table. I always like to drive fast when I feel that way. You get it up around 95 and you feel wonderful. Sometimes I drive all night and come back and you don't know it. It's fun out in the country. You hit rabbits, sometimes you hit dogs. Go take the Beetle. No, I don't want to this time. I don't want to hold on to this funny thing. I want to hold on to this funny thing. God, it's gotten big on me. I don't know what it is. I'm so damn unhappy. I'm so mad. And I don't know why I feel like I'm putting on weight. I feel fat. I feel like I've been saving up a lot of things and don't know what. I might even start reading books. They'd put you in jail, wouldn't they? She looked at him as if they were behind the glass wall. He began to put on his clothes, moving restlessly about the bedroom. Yes, and it might be a good idea before I hurt someone. Did you hear Beatty? Did you listen to him? He knows all the answers. He's right. Happiness is important. Fun is everything. And yet I kept sitting there saying to myself, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I am, Mildred's mouth beamed, and proud of it. I'm going to do something, said Montag. I don't even know what yet, but I'm going to do something big. I'm tired of listening to this junk, said Mildred, turning from him to the announcer again. Montag touched the volume control in the wall, and the announcer was speechless. Millie, he paused. This is your house as well as mine. I feel it's only fair that I tell you something now. I should have told you before, but I wasn't even admitting to it myself. I have something I want you to see, something I've put away and hid during the past year. Now and again, once in a while, I didn't know why, but I did it and I never told you. He took hold of the straight back chair and moved it slowly and steadily into the hall near the front door and climbed up on it and stood for a moment like a statue on a pedestal, his wife standing under him, waiting. Then he reached up and pulled back the grill of the air conditioning system and reached far back inside to the right and moved still another sliding sheet of metal and took out a book. Without looking as he without looking at it as he dropped it to the floor. He put his hand back up and took out two books and moved his hand down and dropped the two books to the floor. He kept moving his hand and dropping books, small ones, fairly large ones, yellow, red, green ones. When he was done, he looked down upon some 20 books lying at his wife's feet. So I want y'all to go ahead, continue reading through 66, that last section, complete it, and then go ahead and finish up your part one guide. What is his internal conflict and what factors have led up to it? Enjoy the rest of your reading, and I will talk to you when we start part two.